Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Rise and Grind. John is still on his family vacation, but the show must go on. And I saw a lot of really cool studies this week. So while this might be a short Rise and Grind, it's going to be pretty impactful. Earlier this week, I saw a study, not like we're surprised, it said that social media is becoming less social, which we've seen coming. We've talked about it here on Rise and Grind. John has said multiple times, we're in this era of the death of social media. I think a few things contribute to that. One, more and more people are saying that they are more selective about the type of content that they're sharing. In a recent study, it showed that 55% of social media users post less than they did 5 years ago. And of those that are actually posting, more than half of them said it feels like work to maintain an online presence, which is we hear that a lot, especially from our clients who are like, wow, you thought social media was going to be easy. There's actually a lot of work that goes into it and making sure that your content gets viewed. And back in probably 20 years ago now, The Guardian put together this principle. It was a 90-91 principle saying that of all active or collaborative websites, including social media, about 90% of the users are going to consume content. 9% of the users are going to edit it, but only 1% of users are going to be truly active on the platform. And again, 20 years later, we see that true with social media today. So it's really interesting how, if you are a creator, you're part of that 1% right now. And if you're someone who's just consuming content and you've been dreaming, maybe you're the 9% who's been editing, go ahead and start posting your content. Um, but on the flip side, I think another contribution to it is the amount of AI spam. That's another study that I saw earlier this week, too. AI spam is flooding social media platforms right now. We see it on every single social media platform, but in this study, it had mentioned that LinkedIn is actually the worst platform for it. It said that, let me get the exact stat here for you. Um, 41% of all long form posts on LinkedIn were used creating or were created with AI. So it's not even people's original thoughts, and that's really what you want to see on LinkedIn is you go there to connect with mentors to see what's working, what's not working. And when nearly half of all content is being AI generated, you're just seeing the same thing over and over and over again. People are starting to use it as just a post for being active instead of really sharing their advice or their opinion on what's going on in their industry. Pinterest was the runner up to that. And creators on Pinterest are really upset. So, a lot of interior designers, a lot of artists, a lot of party planners who put time and effort into curating beautiful pieces of content. And when AI content floods users' feeds, they don't really know what's authentic or not authentic. Those creators that are being authentic are you know, being pushed away really because of the amount and the volume of AI content on Pinterest. And then X was another one that had a lot of AI spam on the platform. Now, social media was initially built in the conception of, connection and authenticity and engagement. And I think it's shied away from that over the years, but now we're seeing consumers so hungry for real life moments. I very often tell our clients to record everything they're doing in their day to day, even if they think that they have a very boring day to day, because people want to feel like a fly on the wall in their life. They don't care if you're just sitting there answering emails all day, or you're going to run errands here and there, or maybe you have a few meetings. People are truly wondering what their neighbors, their friends, their mentors, people who they aspire to be, what their lives look like without the filters, without it being, a perfectly curated moment. And so if you are someone who you're a business, you don't know where to get started in creating social media content, you feel like you have to put a camera up and have a whole script and it be heavily edited, you don't have to do that. You can just post some B-roll throughout your day. Maybe you are answering meetings. Maybe you're looking at new product samples. You can take a quick clip of that. Those very pure moments do very well on social media nowadays. Now, on that same topic, TikTok came out with a study after assessing the brands who are actually winning on the platform. And it's not the ones who are posting the most, it's the ones who are really tuning into their audience. What is their audience like? What pop culture moments is their audience leaning into? What, again, not what you say, but how you say it. So in what ways are they connecting with their audience and how they say certain things? And they're using their audience to create better content, not using AI, maybe enhanced by AI, but the brands that are just pushing content out with AI because they're seeing these trends and they feel like they have to get them up quickly, it's not exactly resonating with their audiences completely. So you start to lose a little bit of trust if you're just pushing out content. And I know from a marketer's perspective, the expanded AI push over the past year or so has put a lot of pressure on both marketers and brands to push out a lot of content. But again, less is more. You want to make sure that it's very, very relevant to your audience, that you're keeping that integrity there and the connection there, and aren't just pushing out content just to say that you posted something. Now, in that same study, 76% of social users said that they are most likely to discover new emerging trends on TikTok, and 84% agree that the biggest trends start on that platform. So the cultural influence of TikTok is very, very strong. If you're a brand who hasn't thought about a TikTok strategy, it's a great place. Even if you want to try out a new trend of your own, it's a great place to test a few things. A few months ago, I was talking to another marketer and they had such a great strategy for TikTok. They said that they will make a list of all of the wild ideas they have for social media, and they'll create it all, post it all on TikTok to see what performs well and what doesn't perform well. And then whatever does perform well, they'll take that and they'll put it on Instagram Reels, they'll put it on YouTube Shorts, and it's kind of like their beta platform for seeing what resonates most with their audience. So that's a great way to use TikTok as well. All right, this was a very quick one today. Please tune in every Monday and Thursday at 9 a.m. and we'll see you back here next week.